What's going on, everyone? So later today, JJ Redick will be officially announced as the Lakers head coach. That's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So what is that? 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30 p.m. Central time. Hope that clarifies for everybody. But one of the things that obviously this is a big signal that, hey, we can start moving in the positive direction, right? This is the beginning step, the first stage in just acquiring the foundation of this team, right? The Lakers want to build a culture. They want to build that foundation. They want to build a program, right? So if that's what they really want to do, then hopefully we can start moving forward. Hopefully in this press conference, we can get some clarification on a few things, kind of the direction and then the hope, right? There's going to be the generic, like, oh, we're so glad to have JJ, JJ, are you excited? Yes, I love it. I'm so happy to be the Lakers, right? But I hope that there's some real questions, right? I hope we'll get down to a little nitty gritty here. I hope we get an idea of what the direction is, right? We've gotten reports that hey, JJ, he wants to make Anthony Davis more of a focal point. The word used was to elevate Anthony Davis. LeBron James, right? He wants him to play more off ball. Do you have an idea of the type of offense and structure you want to do, right? Obviously, you don't want to give away all of the trade secrets, right? You don't want to give away all of the ideas. But I mean, in today's league, everything's out there. You know what sets the Warriors and the Nuggets and all these teams are doing. So it's not like there's some safeguard that you have to, keep, and man, you cannot let this get away from you. You got to keep this close to the chest type thing. Right? I would like to see them kind of, dive into and give us fans an idea and direction of kind of what to expect, right? I'm excited for JJ Redick. I am. I think he's going to do a good job, right? Again, I'm not so worried about the on-court stuff. I think the execution, his preparation, right? I think his just rotation and ability to the X's and O's as well as calling timeout stuff, I think that'll be fine. My concern is more so the responsibilities beyond just the on-court stuff that a head coach has to deal with. That's where you really need, JJ understands the game. JJ knows the game. JJ has the basketball mind, right? But can he operate everything else? Can he manage the egos? Can he demand the respect, right? Can he keep guys engaged in the locker room together, right? Can he, when a guy's starting to, can he make the hard call? Right? Hey, you just don't have it right now. I got to move you to the bench, or we got to cut your minutes until you kind of get back into the swing of things, right? Is he going to be able to deal with the agents and organization and the media and all that stuff, right? Is he going to be able to kind of steer the ship, but also deal with all of the crew, so to speak, right? So that's why I really do think that the Lakers, they really need to surround him with that talent on the bench, right? Now, they want to bring in experienced head coaches. The reports are they want to bring in at least 2. I'm all for that, right? If you can bring in a Scott Brooks and Stan Van Gundy or something, right? To me, no-brainer. Do that. If you want to surround JJ with as much just understanding and kind of teaching as possible, right? And I think that will give him the most success. Obviously, the roster is a big thing too. Doesn't matter how good JJ is. I mean, JJ could come out the gates and be the perfect coach. He can be the best coach in the league out the gate. It doesn't matter if you don't have the talent. I mean, look at guys like Greg Popovich. Been coaching a bottom-feeding team for the last handful of years. He's looked at as one of, if not the greatest coaches ever in the game of basketball. And even he can't get to the playoffs or the play-in. Got to build the roster. You got to have the talent. You got to have all of those things. So the Lakers do have a lot of work ahead of them, right? But JJ, as far as the checklist goes, I mean, he checks off most of the boxes, right? Can he convince LeBron, though, to play more off ball? Can he convince LeBron to make the adjustments? LeBron has talked for years now about how much he wants to play off ball. It's why they got Schroeder the first time, Russell Westbrook, D'Lo, Schroeder again. That's why they keep trying to get these point guards, right? So, okay, but it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to actually do that. And so far, LeBron hasn't really done that. I'm not saying he's always, like, he has times and he has moments where he kind of lets guys shine, but I'm curious to see how JJ's really going to kind of get him to play and be off ball. But in the same breath, you got to have the pieces that are reliable enough, right? Like, you got to have the pieces that can go out there and make the moves, make the plays that, in crunch time are going to be able to make the proper decisions. Because otherwise, it's just like, why would you want to take the ball out of LeBron's hands? Right? Like, the Russell Westbrook situation, it's like, who would you rather have the ball in their hands? LeBron or Russ? I'm sorry, LeBron, right? Like, but the problem is you brought Russ in to be the guy to make the decisions and everything in the crunch time. And he wasn't, the decision making wasn't there to the level in which we needed. So, again, you have to have the roster in place. But, again, I really hope we get some clarity on just some of the aspects of, from the coaching standpoint, what the vision is with Anthony Davis, right? Again, okay, you want to elevate Anthony Davis. You want him to be more of a focal point in the fourth quarter. That's fine. What are your plans? How do you do that? How do you get the team to buy in that regard? Because, look, how many times last year did we see Anthony Davis have like 30 through 3 quarters, and then come the fourth quarter, he doesn't even get a shot. He doesn't even touch the ball, right? And to me, that's all fronts. That's the head coach not doing their job and recognize, like, hey, we need to get Anthony Davis the ball. That's in the ball handlers, whether that's LeBron or D'Lo or whomever else. If we get a DeJounte, whoever we end up getting, you have to recognize, hey, I need to get my guy the ball, right? He's the guy, right? Get him the basketball. Especially in games where he's torching and killing folks. It's like, dude, like, why isn't he touching the basketball? So to me, it's like, okay, how are you going to structure that? And then also Anthony Davis is responsible because it's Anthony Davis's job to demand that basketball. It's Anthony Davis's job to establish position and call guys, hey, get me the basketball. What are you doing? Just dribbling out. Get me the basketball, right? Be a leader. Challenge these guys. Hey, you think like LeBron's not getting the basketball? You think he's just sitting there just like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. No, hey, come on. We trying to win or we not? Hey, like, got to get your guy the basketball. So I'm really excited to see how this kind of plays out, right? You look at like the Darvin Ham press conference. He said all the right things, right? He looked confident. He looked comfortable out there. Talked about how, we got LeBron and Anthony Davis. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. And, and then even last year, you kind of saw in the press, we're going to cut LeBron's minutes down. We're going to do this, that, and the other. And all that went out the window. To me, if you have a plan, you got to stick to it, right? Even this year, I talked about, which I get it, you're trying to win as many games as possible. But, like, one of the things that it's a fine line, but, like, the idea was LeBron to play 30 or less minutes, right? They wanted him to stay around 30 minutes. Give or take, depending on the game, depending on the situation. And, like, game one, that was a disaster. And it fell apart, and they never looked back, right? But if you're going to have a plan, you got to see it through, right? You got to make guys figure it out. You got to make guys elevate. If the plan is really to play LeBron 30 minutes, obviously you don't want to lose. You don't want to start the season 2-10, right? So it's why I mean by, like, it's a fine line. It's a fine juggling act, right? But you need to give things times to marinate and get on your players behind. What are we doing here, right? Like, LeBron's supposed to be playing 30 minutes. Why aren't you guys showing up, right? Like, where's that conversation? Like, I want to see JJ be in control, be in demand, right? Demand greatness from your players, right? And if you're not good enough, if you can't be great, then fine. You can ride the pine. Because this guy over here, we'll see what he can do, right? Like, it's those tough calls, those tough decisions, and again, kind of figuring out. Will there be learning curves? Of course. Will JJ Redick have moments where he probably looks bad? I'm sure, right? But I'm sure he'll have moments where he looks great, right? But to me, it's like, what is the overall package? I don't care about, a 7-game stretch. I understand in the Western Conference, but it didn't matter who the Lakers got as a head coach. Dan Hurley, you could have gotten Frank Vogel back. You could have brought in Monty Williams. You could have brought anybody. It doesn't matter who the head coach was. There's always going to be that learning curve. Talking about new roster, new players, new organization, new system, new understanding, new everything. It's not as plug and play as we all want it to be. So there's always going to be this trial and error period. I'm fine with that. I'm patient enough to wait, right? Even this past season, I defended Darvin Ham early on and was like, hey, like, he's trying to figure this, like, he got this deep rotate, you got all these players, he's trying to figure it out, got injuries, right? He's trying to see, okay, which is our best 5 guys? Oh man, this guy's out now. Okay, what about this guy, right? He's trying to piece it together. But then after like 15 games, it's like, okay, dude, like, at what point do you get it set? Do you get it right? Like, what have you been doing the rest of the time? Like, even JJ, I don't mind little experimentation early on. It's what you should be doing, especially early on. I mean, the problem is the West is just so incredibly stacked, right? You lose 3 out of 5 games to start because you're kind of experimenting, right? Like, that could be the difference between you being like the 5th seed or you being the 7th seed, right? But I just think you have to kind of go through that, especially with the first-year head coach. Again, you got to kind of get past that learning curve. But I'm really excited for this press conference. I'm really curious to see what is said, and we'll definitely break it down. So stay tuned for that video. I'm definitely going to break down kind of the greatest hits of that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you excited for this press conference? Do you, even if you're somebody that's like not for JJ, are you still excited for this press conference to kind of see what he thinks? What would you want to see to maybe, if you're kind of on the fence or whatever, what do you want to see to kind of bring you to the side of like, hey, JJ might actually work? Obviously the people that kind of out on JJ, the only way I think that you're going to change those people's minds is his success, like him having success, which is fine, right? Like, that's how do you solve people kind of doubting you? You go out there and you have success, right? So again, maybe I'm being overly optimistic for JJ, but I'm willing to at least give him a chance. Let's give him a shot is kind of how I'm looking at this, right? I don't know. He could be terrible. I don't know, right? But Luke Walton had plenty of experience, and literally like half the league wanted him as the next great head coach. The Lakers fired him, and he immediately got a job with the Sacramento Kings, and now he's like the 3rd, 4th assistant on the Cavs, right? But he was looked at as the next great basketball mind. Everyone was like, you have to get Luke Walton, Luke Walton, Luke Walton, Luke Walton. Like, oh, Lakers would be foolish not to take Luke Walton. He chooses Lakers, disaster. Darvin Ham, same thing. All the hype on Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham is the next great head coach. He's this, that, and the other, right? You have to get him. He had 10 interviews, I think, with like 10 other teams. Chose the Lakers, right? We saw how that turned out. It's always going to be a gamble. It's always going to be a crapshoot. But to me, it's like, give me the guy with the most upside. I have faith and belief in JJ. But we'll see. See how it goes. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you don't like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.